Well, with me is Jack Simson, Caird. He's a senior research fellow at the Bingham Centre for the Rule of Law and a former constitutional law specialist in the House of Commons Library. Welcome to you. What do you think of this whole indicative vote process?
Well, I think it's positive to see MPs trying something different. I know last week there was, the general reaction was MPs say no to everything, but I think we did see that this sort of system can give some indication of a possible compromise that could
and does it offend you in constitutional terms as it offends some people?
I don't think so. I think the main problem with the system is probably that it's coming too late in the day. I mean, I think it's still worth doing because at this late stage we're looking for solutions. And I think it was positive to see MPs come together on a cross-party basis and try and put together a different system. I think the only thing we don't know really in terms of today is will today give any different result to Wednesday?
Yeah, I mean, that's the point. They had eight options last time round. None of them got an overall majority, and all of them, some of them narrowly, some of them by a big margin, lost. I mean, if you ask the same question again in the same process, you're going to get the same answer, aren't you? So is there any way of refining it? Well,
I think what they're relying on is that the Speaker might try and take into account the results last time when he makes a selection of which ones go on the ballot paper for the MP's decision. I think we're expecting the votes at around 8 o'clock. So I think he could take into account the ones that did worse last time and rule those out. So we only have the ones that could have a possible compromise. But that, again, doesn't actually necessarily change anything. And we had quite a lot of abstentions last time. So we didn't necessarily get a true sense of where all MPs' opinions lied on the key questions. So I think one of the other big things people were looking for, will there be less abstentions on some of these key decisions?
And you could introduce, I suppose, some kind of alternative vote system to break it down.
Yeah, I think they're talking about that on Wednesday. But again, I think that the difficulty there is you could find a way of somehow constructing a majority, but you can't actually get around the fact at the end of the day, you need to find a sustainable coalition, not just to get this deal through for a meaningful vote, but also to get the legislation through before exit day. And that's, I think, from a constitutional lawyer's perspective, is the big question. How are you going to get legislation through before exit day?
Well, hopefully you can get a majority, and that really brings me to my next question, which is, does it make sense with this system to also have a party whipping system or a whipping of the cabinet?
Well, I think that the whole system is designed actually to get a sense of where MPs really, their opinion really lies. And I think it's difficult, as you say, if you have whipping to do that. But ultimately, even if you had free votes on these particular motions, I think once you then got to a hard runoff with the deal, or if you then got to the legislation, then any sort of free votes wouldn't probably apply at that stage.
It does give a lot of power to the Speaker, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. I think we'll have to wait and see what he selects, but I think there won't be anything too surprising in terms of a selection.
Thank you very much indeed. Pleasure to see you. Much more from All Out Politics coming up in the next hour, including the Solicitor General, Robert Buckland MP, and Chuka Umunna.